There is nothing that makes sense about any of this. Punching with your dainty receiver-gloved hands, a hard plastic helmet with a face mask made of titanium wire. Javon Wims making his professional boxing debut versus the Saints with this battle.
All going wrong at the
snatching of the imaginary chain there at the very beginning. It's ridiculous.
We'll get to that in a second. We've got two awesome quotes from the Pittsburgh Steelers. Losing? Never heard of her. Chase Claypool. That's a rookie with a Primus time quote. Claypool. And also Mike Tomlin. We respect him, but we do not fear him. That is a mastodon drop from Mike Tomlin. The him he's referring to, of course, is Lamar Jackson. That's where we start. Stuffed on the game's most important play. In the Ravens' most important games, again, an egg from Lamar Jackson. I'm not asking for anybody if you have faith no more in Lamar Jackson, because none of you guys know what I'm doing right now either. But TC, did the Steelers win it? Did the Ravens lose it? Or did Lamar Jackson lose it?
Oh, I think the Steelers won it, and I may have been a little late to this Steelers party that has them at the only undefeated team. So I do want to give them credit. I'm sure Lamar Jackson and the Ravens would like a couple of plays back here and there, and they probably feel like they gave it away. But since the Steelers are one of less than a handful of teams playing real defense in the NFL and causing mayhem, and what they've done to Lamar Jackson twice now when they faced him, it's like they're putting out a blueprint that most teams can't copy, but they know what they're doing against him. And I especially like the play you showed, the 4th and 3. It's like they know, okay, this is a quarterback draw. We are going to get him running, and we all know it, and we're going to stuff it. And they did. And you see so many other teams get fooled by those calls. I give hats off to the Steelers.
Didn't look like they had one spy on Jackson on that play. Didn't look like they had two spies on Jackson on that. They had 3 spies on Lamar Jackson on that 4th down. Israel Gutierrez, did the Steelers win it? Ravens lose it? Jackson blow it?
I would say the Steelers won it, and I would say this about that comment, we respect him, but we don't fear him, is they could say that about every quarterback because they get such constant pressure. They're on pace. They're currently getting pressure on 39.6% of dropbacks, and that would be the most since ESPN even started checking that stat in 2009. And they get sacks on 11%. And that's the most in, I think, 20 years. And so it didn't matter that it's Lamar Jackson. Now, granted, Lamar can break free and get you 50, 60 yards, but he is going to be pressured. He is going to be pressured when he drops back. And this is where we saw the Hollywood Brown tweet, about not using your weapons. You can't if you don't have time back there. Now, this Ravens offense doesn't normally go deep, but against this team they had to, and they really didn't.
Kevin Blackiston, I'll bring you in here. What did you see specifically from Lamar Jackson now? This is yet another big game and another egg.
I saw him confused, and I saw him specifically confused by Mike Tomlin's defense. That very first pick 6 that he threw, I like the action coming off of that play because you saw Mike Tomlin congratulate his team as if he was saying, we looked at this on film, we set it up just right, we disguised it, and with a backup guy, we got the pick 6 and on the board there. That is what Mike Tomlin does. And in this rivalry game, arguably the best rivalry I think in pro football right now, and it has been for a number of years, they just laid down the law. They confused the guy who could beat them on the Ravens, and now they are sitting at 7-0. It is a lovely thing if you're a Pittsburgh.
And Pablo Torre. I mean, you heard Kalishaw before saying this is a blueprint, but not everybody can even pull off this blueprint that Pittsburgh did. But another moment where Lamar Jackson doesn't look like the MVP.
Yeah, I also heard Kalishaw say there are a couple plays they'd like back. How about those 4 turnovers, each of which, Tim, was seismic? It was the pick 6 KB mentioned. It was the fact that the other 3, 2 fumbles and interception, all resulted in a score or red zone possessions. And this is a thing for Lamar Jackson. So to answer the question, this is on Lamar Jackson because the Steelers are very good. And it's crazy, by the way, this is a 4-point game despite those 4 turnovers. But Lamar Jackson has had 15 turnovers over the last 2 years. 7 of them have come against the Steelers in 2 games. They know what he's doing. And Lamar Jackson, when he wants to go and be, an MVP repeat, reigning MVP as he is right now, that team is the one he's going to have to go through, and so far he has shown no ability.
Well, let me ask you, is that on Lamar Jackson or is it on John Harbaugh and being able to get something from the coach? Go ahead, Kevin Blackistone. You're nodding affirmatively to what part of that question?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. That's the other part of Pablo's answer there, because I do think it is on the coaching staff there. In fact, that very last play that you showed, and you talked about it, 3 spies on Lamar Jackson. How about come up with another play there? Throw it into the end zone, a fade into the corner, which a lot of people hate, right? Let's see something else.
Pittsburgh is 7-0 for just the second time in franchise history. That is hard to believe with a franchise with such history like the Steelers. Are they now best in the NFL? Good to you. Israel Gutierrez, you could start us off there.
They're not, because I do think that eventually there are teams, even in the AFC, obviously Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, that can do something against that pass rush, can go deep, can sort of flummox that defense with all the pressure. And I just don't have a whole lot of faith in Ben Roethlisberger to make all the right decisions at this age through a playoff run. So they could be regular season good, but I don't think playoffs good.
Yeah, I don't think they're better than the Chiefs. I think they're a really good young defense, the best young defense in the NFL, but the offense has to be more consistent. They're among the league leaders in 3-and-outs, Tony. This is a team that's still feeling itself out on offense.
And Tim, you took the mea culpa earlier, saying you doubted them in the first 6 weeks of the season. Now that they're 7-0.
And so I'm trying to quit doubting him, but I still doubt him when it comes to the Chiefs. I don't think they can stop a team with that many.
All right, there's a mute, and there's a double down and a bad for Tim Kalish. We'll move on. Let's take out the standings in the AFC East right now. Buffalo locked into first place after that win over New England, which was a big win for that franchise. However, you flip this around for best records by point differential. Look who leads there. The Miami Dolphins, and it's not close. The win in the Tua debut, a win where the debuting quarterback threw for under 100 yards. Anyone want to guess if that had ever happened before in NFL history? It happened in 2011. I'll give you. Sure. Anyone want to know who it was? The rookie who won in a debut under 100 yards passing? Andy Dalton is RG3. The answer to that question.
Ooh.
Israel, Miami. What did you see from Tua? What did you see from the Dolphins? Or was this all about the Rams' brutal start?
What I saw from Tua was a talented rookie, and he looked like a rookie. You know, that first drop back where he lost the ball to Aaron Donald, I mean, that happens to a lot of people, but other times he looked a little nervous. His accuracy wasn't there. You saw some great arm strength. You saw, you know, even the touchdown to Devontae Parker was a tight window type of throw, and he caught it despite getting hit before that, so that was impressive. But to me, this was more about Brian Flores versus Sean McVay. This was dating back to when he was a defensive play caller in the Super Bowl against the Rams and just dominating that offense. And that offense looked terrible. It looked terrible. Jared Goff looked like it could do nothing against pressure. And the Dolphins, even when they sent predictable pressure, were getting to him and making him look really bad. And so to me, I think that's what this one game was.
Pablo Torre?
But here's what's crazy about this one game. The Dolphins were outgained by 326 yards. That is the most yardage to be outgained by in a win in 18 years, right? So this is just crazy. And so for Tua, Tony, what I see in him is this ongoing experiment. And the more I think about it, the more I'm thinking to myself, okay, this Dolphins front office, which was allegedly okay to tank last year, they're trying to figure out what they have with him. And after this one game, that's very much an open question. He did not look good. It's the first game, of course, against Aaron Donald, but what we know about Tua can be counted on less than a couple of fingers right now, and so far those fingers aren't indicating that.
Okay, so in the long story short, you just want to bring back Ryan Fitzpatrick, your old college classmate, into the conversation. Don't you, Pablo? Admit it. Admit it.
He would be the win-now solution for the...
Kevin Blackstone, they won right now, the debut of Tua, and they got a big lead early on, and Tua didn't need to throw for 200, 300 yards. That's another side of the story if you needed it. Go ahead, KB.
I mean, Miami didn't do anything on offense other than what they wound up doing, which is really nothing. I couldn't tell anything from Tua. His brother Leah had a better weekend than he did for the University of Maryland. But the more concerning thing to me that the Dolphins can hang their hat on is the fact that their defense absolutely discombobulated the Rams offense when they had to. 4 turnovers in the first 30 minutes, and 3 of those resulted in 21 points. That's a great cushion for a rookie quarterback to have, and for them to somehow, with all those numbers not being in their favor, win this game. But I'm going to have to see Tua on another weekend to really see him, you know, be the first-round draft pick that we made him out to be.
Not against Aaron Donald. That's how you need to see it.
Well. Last thing I want to see is myself all covered in yellow tape again, but Pablo was onto something when he brought up Fitzpatrick. I'm sorry. There have to be Dolphin fans thinking, well, what would this team look like if they had the lowest points against defense with a more accomplished quarterback? And, yesterday it didn't matter because of the turnovers and the kickoff return. But we'll see how it goes through the rest of the schedule, and we'll see if Tua develops.
Okay.
Right now, we didn't see much.
Israel's tenting his fingers here. He's got pray hands, which means he really has an important point to make.
Namaste.
Miami has seen 21 Ryan Fitzpatricks since Dan Marino. This season isn't about winning even. It's about figuring out what Tua is and whether you have a franchise quarterback finally.
But you might win in the process. That point differential, I mean, a lot of you put a lot of stake in point differential as a judgment, a way to judge a team. And they're the best in their division. We're going to talk about Buffalo in the next segment, but Buffalo didn't look like a world beater in their win yesterday. Taking a break right here, let's make sense of punching a dude in the helmet. There is no sense, but all this is from Evan Sachs, who's a prude of the film brilliantly on Twitter. Here's what it looked like, and here's how it happened. C.J. Gardner-Johnson yanked Javon Wims' mouthpiece earlier. Is that what happened? So Wims, 11 minutes later, his next chance, straight up walking up to Gardner-Johnson after play. Neither of them were in, by the way, and going with the yank, punch, mush. Have you ever seen anything like that before?
Well, the second punch was smart because it was open-handed.
Is that a sucker punch, or because he got his attention with the mouthpiece at first? It's less suckery.
The guy didn't even know.
We're going to talk about it later. Take a break here.
Larry Brown.
Like a sucker behavior.
Bill Belichick giving Cam Newton a vote of confidence after the fumble at the 14-yard line with 31 seconds left in a three-point game that decided Buffalo, New England. Cam's face after was all of us in 2020. Buffalo's first home win over New England in 9 years. Tim, you got a takeaway?
Yeah, I think you should give him a vote of confidence because Belichick knows that play was probably their best chance at scoring and winning. He has assembled a terrible team around Cam Newton that doesn't absolve Cam of poor play at times, but this is a lousy team, and Belichick knows it.
Israel Gutierrez?
And what do we say about Cam Newton when he was a Panther? He's getting hit too much. He's getting hit 11 times a game this year. It's too much, especially when he has not a single wide receiver who was drafted into the NFL in this game. They were all undrafted. It's not a good team around him. They were that lucky. They were lucky to be.
So you're putting all this basically on Belichick as well in the roster that he's assembled here around Cam Newton.
But also giving him credit for even winning the games that they've won or being in this.
Right, but the GM Belichick getting blamed from you. Blackistone, how about you?
Right.
Well, that's what I was about to say. I mean, who's Belichick going to criticize? Himself, the general manager, for bringing in Cam Newton? And who does he have behind Cam Newton to come in and better things? Nobody. So, you know what? He's his best runner, he's his best passer, and he's got to live with this.
All right.
Yeah, everything feels mediocre in New England right now. Cam Newton has not been good. He hasn't thrown a touchdown pass since September now. And this defense, Tony, the defense gave up over 175 rushing yards and 3 touchdowns. That happened 6 times in Belichick's first 20 years. That's happened in 2 straight weeks this season against the Niners and the Jets. So this is not trending well, no.
Was this a demon exercising win for Buffalo, Pablo, in your estimation?
Oh, absolutely. And it does not matter that New England is mediocre. It just matters that they finally got one over on Bill Belichick.
Show you're shaking your head no.
No, I mean, their last 2 weeks, Buffalo has struggled past New York to some extent and barely beat New England. They're not the team we thought they were in September.
Buy or sell 2, the 2 one-loss teams who played 1-win teams yesterday. In both, the 1-win team won. That's what's called a survivor pool cleanse. Cincinnati 31, Tennessee 20. This Joe Burrow play was great. He escaped 5 tackles. Vikings 28, Packers 22. Dalvin Cook 4 touchdowns. Aaron Rodgers after the game on why this pass interference flag was picked up. This one right here. He wondered if New York called it in and told them to pick it up. Woo! Israel, what's the bigger upset from Sunday?
To me, because of Dalvin Cook, I think the other game's a bigger upset. I think it's Cincinnati, and I think what's so upsetting about it is despite that one play where Joe Burrow got out of that, Tennessee didn't have a lot of pressure. They didn't sack a rookie quarterback one time. For a 5-1 team, you're supposed to give that quarterback a little bit of
Kevin Blackstone?
You know, Vikings-Packers, as we know, is a rivalry game. Those things happen. But the Titans' defense is getting shredded. I mean, we were ready to crown this team, and look what they've done the last couple of weeks. Their defense is getting shoved up and down the field. Yesterday, they couldn't tackle Joe Burrow. That play just showed right there. They're in a lot of trouble. They got to fix that.
TST.
But the expectations for the Packers were supposed to be far greater than the ones that we saw this team live up to on Sunday, right? I mean, the Packers are supposed to take care of the Vikings. I know that Joe Burrow is very good. That's fine. The Titans defense, we knew they're bad. But Dalvin Cook going for 4 touchdowns? I mean, that is unconscionable.
That good.
Kalishaw.
I think Burrow on his own elevates Cincinnati to a level that's almost up there with Tennessee anyway. I'm with Pablo. I thought Minnesota just taking over a game where Cousins couldn't do anything early and never really had to, even when they got into the lead and got the lead. It said so much about the Packers' inability to stop anybody or to use any weapons.
Buy or sell 3, booed leaving the field for half. Then came a halftime speech from Drew Lock, and that's how Denver had a comeback win with 0-0 on the clock. But also, it was the Chargers, and the Chargers charged. 4 double-digit leads blown this year. Under cover of Falcons, not a lot has been talked about the Chargers charging. What to buy, what to sell, Kevin?
Well, one thing we got to do is apologize to the ATL. This team, these Chargers, have lost 3 17-point leads. Not even the Falcons have done this year. Our bad.
Sorry.
I apologize on the part of the national media.
Hold on. I'm supposed to give the Atlanta Falcons credit because we have 2 teams that are hovering somewhere vaguely above the Earth's mantle in terms of how good they are. No, they're both terrible. Win probability. We're going to learn a lot about that in the coming days, by the way. But these are games these teams should win, and they are obviously just chokers. I mean, it's hard to get around that fact.
Kalishaw.
It's remarkable how many people want to constantly tell you, oh, but the Chargers are getting some players back. Here come the Chargers. And this is what we see. There go the Chargers. There goes another lead.
Drew Gutierrez.
These 2 young quarterbacks are starting to develop reputations. Drew Lock is all emotion and guts and lip-syncing rap lyrics.
Yeah.
And, Herbert, who loses big leads but still somehow looks great. Doesn't make any sense.
You're putting this one on Herbert, the lost lead here, the way they invent losses.
I mean, he got a couple of picks there. Apparently, we're only seeing the good plays with Justin Herbert because the L's keep coming.
Wow. All right. So you're selling Justin Herbert here, Israel Gutierrez. Tim Kalishaw. Ooh, Kevin Blackistone and Torrey had a little bit of going on there. That was pretty good. TC.
Not even close.
Stone. Gutierrez. Torrey. Showdown in 2 minutes. All right, showdown. Pablo Torrey and Israel Gutierrez. Visual right here. Do they call that a video daily double? Fair or foul use of the video board by Oklahoma State here. Look at what the kicker's looking into here. The yellow lines to make it look like the goalpost for a Texas field goal attempt. He hit it. Fair or foul, Israel?
Oh, I think it's fair. I'm a big fan of Arizona State's curtain of distraction. This actually works for me because if you look at the kicker, Tony, he's not looking up when he kicks. He's looking down. He knows where he's going. All that stuff, that distraction, doesn't really matter.
What I'm disappointed by is that they didn't go far enough. I mean, they threw up yellow poles up there, which is helpful, but throw in some optical illusions, a magic eye, perhaps. We have all of these memes that are just, what's this thing? Is it this thing? No, it's both of these things. Throw some of those up there.
So, Israel, your point is a kicker never looks at the goalposts when they kick? They're always looking down?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. I'm going to buy it for now. We'll move on. Point, Gutierrez, the Rutgers lateral play. Oh, the Rutgers lateral play. This did not count because a forward pass came in the 5th lateral, but it took 33 seconds, had 8 laterals, including the big man's anvil toss. Oh, God, I love that. The forward pass, again, was not called on the field. There was no flag. It was found on review. Pablo, shouldn't this have counted anyway? Was it too good to overrule?
Yes. It was too good to overrule. Number 71, the aforementioned big man, dribbles the football off the field and then throws it like a wedding bouquet, Tony. It was one of the most glorious things I've ever seen, and now it's erased from our history? Really?
Talk about the swing of emotions here, right? No flags on the field. We did it. Oh, wait, there's 2 minutes left in the game. We were down by 16, and they have to go to review to overturn it. I'm pretty sure everybody should have just been meh, because it really meant nothing.
It meant everything to me. Point for the wedding bouquet, by the way. Pablo Torre. All right, even going into Showdown 3, we talked about it earlier. Let's go back in. Whose brawl was worse? Javon Wims' pro boxing debut. Remember, that was about a mouthpiece. You never see somebody take that big a punch to the helmet. Versus Florida-Missouri Saturday. This was about Trajan Jeffcoat's hit on Kyle Trask. It had 3 ejections. Maybe some coaches were involved. And Moen on the field going berserker, which is not to confuse with him going Vader after the game. Israel, which brawl was worse?
Whew, Dan Mullen is my coach, but I cannot defend him. On the other hand, I do think the other fight was worse because Wins went closed fist on the first punch, which you realize that he made a mistake because he went open fist on the second one. That must have hurt.
Yeah, I can't believe I'm rejecting an opportunity for corporate synergy with that Darth Vader mask thing that happened there, but it was entirely about Janoris Jenkins at the end there, jumping on the dude like an octopus and clinging to his torso. We didn't even show that part. That was my favorite part of the whole thing.
FaceTime Israel Gutierrez. A well-earned win today. It is 30 seconds.
Well, when he won the World Series, you would think John Lester in Chicago never had to buy another drink. Well, he's a free agent, and he wants to get the fans on his side. So what did he do this weekend? He spent $47,000 buying other people drinks, buying the Miller Lite. He tipped 34% on that, so all that money wasn't going to the beer industry. How about John Lester?
That was pretty cool. Well done, Israel. 30 seconds for Gutierrez. 23.5-hour break for us. We'll see you tomorrow.